Alrighty. Well, this week I made a bit of a decision. I'm basically quitting my job in early April. So yeah, I've been convinced by the fat man in a tin can on wheels that I should quit my job and travel the country in a van. No, actually no. No, we've had a busy month. It's one thing to have a busy day. It doesn't really mean much at all. It's another thing to have an extremely busy week. It's been a busy month. Oh, and this Sri Lankan, who is one of the 8 to 9% of Muslims, he's a Muslim, looks like an Indian. He's basically, Sri Lanka is an island that's 70 k's off India and was originally connected to India. Yeah, he's got a little bit too big for his fucking rather small boots. You know what? Fuck him. You know, he's... You know, there's different things when he should have been like the quasi-yard supervisor. So even when we've had an actual yard supervisor, he's been like the second in charge. He started there apparently doing some hard work, but other people say he's always sort of been in the office and well, from what I've seen and what most people have seen, he's just so fucking lazy, it's unbelievable. The guy who used to be yard supervisor is still there, and he was demoted because he wouldn't give up his lunch times and skip all his lunch times as trucks were being loaded for this lazy motherfucker, the Sri Lankan, to be put in. Some of you may have dealt, especially if you're in New Zealand or Australia, you may have dealt with this large influx of lazy, rich Indian migrants, and they are arrogant, entitled, lazy as fuck, won't put in any effort and take the credit for everything, and spend years at university to not even take any interest in what they're learning. Their qualification to them is a status symbol. Now, this guy hasn't come over with them, but just from what I've heard, he must be one of the wealthy ones. He's gone to England as a quote-unquote refugee initially, gone to university there, and he never likes to talk about what he done in university, because I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't fucking pass. And he's claimed that he's passed anyway, and he may have been doing a management thing and claimed that he's passed, but he never actually did. He's even lived in Japan for about 18 months, well, now he's in Australia, but, you know, generally he was pretty good, but he was always, I don't know how many fucking new people that I've had to train that have turned around and said to me, what does this guy actually do as a job? All I do is see him wandering around all the time. And this is the thing. He's come in there, supposedly worked hard in one particular, but then being given special treatment by the boss, and there's a lot of jokes about him being under the desk. You know what I mean? And, well, he just never seems to do fuck all. And when I was first there, they used to get him to do some stuff, and he used to do that, and then, we don't have much of a yard, so he'd go around and he'd, you know. But as time's gone on, he would do less and less and less, to the point that within 3 months of me getting there back in March 2017, yes, I've been working here for basically 2 years. The first few months he was doing stuff, and then after that, it's like as though, well, he just become a supervisor, not officially, but just sort of, you know, went from picking orders or counting returned items and stuff like that, and within 3 months, 4 months, he'd just do fuck all. A little bit of paperwork. always doing paperwork, but the rest of the day he's just wandering around. Well, I had different ones come and go, including the very tall South African who was actually fired right in front of us. I've seen plenty of people get fired. I've never had my boss fired. He wasn't fired right in front of us. They fired him in the office, but then they come and brought us together and say, well, your boss has now been fired. And I was like, what the fuck? I've never been there when a boss has been fired before, and even though we didn't see it directly happen, couldn't believe it. But this guy then finally officially went for the job of yard supervisor, and once he officially became yard supervisor, then he became Mr. Invincible for real. Not just lazy, but lazy, and now he's decided to delegate any and all duties to the three main people who have been there for a number of years. Me, another Italian guy who started like in the January 2 months before I did, and the other former yard supervisor who's been there for like 7 or 8 years. And then we had an extremely busy week. And then we had people going on holidays, including the guy who started 2 months before me. And we were going like cut snakes, and I mean fucking flat knacker. And this lazy bastard, he used to originally chip in and help if it was busy. No. We're on 2 forklifts going flat out, and this guy's third forklift was just parked 90% of the time. Then we had the manager come around last week and say, do you think things would speed up if we bought a 4th forklift? Yeah, what you got to do is you got to get someone on the 3rd forklift before it's worth buying a 4th one. Anyway, this lazy little prick also had another Muslim who started there, who is like a protected species. It's like his pet. And of course, guess what? This idiot is lazy as fuck and should be sacked. But no, the supervisor's protecting him. And this dumb bastard, he goes off and he washes his face 7 times a day. He's paranoid about any dust. For fuck's sake, dude, we've got angle grinders with circular wire brush heads on the end. Big bastards. Well, with some of them at the moment, I'm using up a lot of smaller ones that we bought in excess of. But it's something we actually bought a number of. But yeah, and then he gets a bit of dust. So he's got to go wash his... Like, he'll fucking wash his face nearly every hour, this guy. And, you know, you're trying to do stuff with him, and he just stand there like a fucktard and wait for you to do it all. And that's the guy who's been protected. The guy who's actually protecting him, the supervisor, is even fucking lazy. He just doesn't do anything now. He had the poor former supervisor loading a truck with another guy and then looking after 2 pairs of guys. So basically he was supervising 5 people doing 3 different things, while the actual supervisor is taking the big dollars in and just fucking sitting in the air conditioning in front of his computer or some bullshit, you know. Or just milling around doing fuck all. Talking to people about their family life and stuff like this, and oh, you know, how's your kids, blah, blah, blah. Just chit-chatting away while all the rest of us are going like a fucking cut snake. You know, and this shit, and then he decided, in a particular week where I got a huge amount done, you know, I lost part of a break, so I had a little bit of a longer break, and I must admit, one break I went 10 minutes over on that same day, and I didn't even realise, because my sidekick just fucking keeps walking off without alerting me that the break's over. I was busy watching YouTube, actually, and the prick docked me 15 minutes of pay, and meanwhile he goes to mosque every week, and well, it was, you know, it's just supposed to be for an hour, and it ends up being an hour and 40 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, and earlier, before he became official supervisor, he used to disappear for 45 minutes to an hour during a half-hour lunch break, and they would never dock him of any other pay. Just take out the half hour and he'd be away for fucking an hour. You know, it's like, fuck me. As the former supervisor says to me all the time, this guy has got it so good here, it's ridiculous. And it's a little bit too ridiculous. And so, I was driving to work one morning and I was getting sick of this heavy traffic and shit, and I was just thinking about this stuff. I thought, you know what? Fuck this cunt. Fuck him up the arse. I know what I can do. I know they depend on me a lot. So I'll just fucking leave, and this arsehole will have to do it. They'll be completely fucked. He'll have to pick his game up. So I went and told the manager a little bit about the lazy supervisor and his fucking pet, how the pet wasn't doing much, and I said, by the way, I'm going. And he goes, oh, don't make a rush decision. He more or less didn't accept me saying I was leaving. And then that was 2 days ago, and today I went and told him, well, I'm going on a set date in April. Oh, okay, mate. So I worked through an agency, and I sort of initially said, look, here I am here, and that I'm still not going to have been 2 years. And I've been told, oh, it's another 6 months to a year till you go permanent, because this new fucking national manager wants to make himself look good with very low amounts of friggin' permanence, and look how much work we've done. But hide all the money they spent hiring casuals, you know. Maybe I wouldn't be so pissed off if we got some overtime, but strangely enough, that just this year, bang, no overtime. So we're absolutely overloaded, and then don't get any overtime. And then I find out that supervisor come in to unload one truck on his own, and that was it. And there was, yeah, nobody else coming in, but by fuck, we needed to come in, we needed extra staff, we needed him to get off his fucking arse, and you know what, it's burnt me out on this job. I used to like this job, but it's just burnt me out because of these lazy little fucking twitching cunt. So, a lot of what you just heard then will be going in a letter to my manager and the manager's manager at headquarters in Sydney, who was down the other day, and I was invited to have a talk if I wanted, but I just thought, what am I going to hear? What I usually hear, a bunch of false promises. I've been asking for a particular little thing that's a little $7 piece of shit, and I know they got plenty of them in Sydney, and I've asked for this shit since September or October, and I was told in December we'll get some in the new year, and guess what? Supervisor hasn't got them, and it's like, fuck me, we do a shitter job without this little tool. It makes your job harder. I asked for earmuffs for about 2 months. My sidekick already has real hearing issues, like he's got fucking the hearing of a 75-year-old, and he's 24. And, yeah, well, I kept asking and I couldn't get these damn things, and turns out we have 2 sets, brand new, in the fucking cupboard. And I only got them from asking the manager, and then the manager sort of, you know, I mentioned something else to him, and the other day he sort of told me, well, look, really, you're supposed to go to your supervisor. And I cut him off and said, the only reason I go to you is because I asked this shit for months, and it never happens. And it seems that if it's an immediate problem, this supervisor will fix it. If it's not, there'll be shit lying. We've had shit just lying around for weeks on end that's a 10-minute job to finish, but he won't get the 10 minutes and fucking finish it. He's one of these guys who's like, if he was a kid, he'd have toys all over the fucking floor, and they'd never be put away for a month, even though it'd be a 5-minute job to put them away. And that's what it's like. You know, you get all this shit laying everywhere that's just a 10-minute job to finish it off, and you're driving around it for a month, and it would have taken 10 minutes to finish it off. If it's not an immediate pressing issue, he doesn't give a fuck about it. And that's another thing I mentioned to the manager a couple of weeks ago. But, and, you know, he was about to tell me, well, you know, you need to just ask your supervisor instead of coming to me directly. And I said, well, I come to you directly because I don't get any fucking action. That was 2 weeks ago. This week, more was said. And there's going to be a letter typed up because, well, I've actually got access to someone's printer this weekend. And, yeah, these two are going to find out for real about all this bullshit. There's another little trick he does with the paperwork where if he counts something out for an order and he might get the number wrong, what he does is he makes sure he never signs the paper. So nab some new person and someone else, like maybe they're working in paired, he's working with someone else, count this out. So the person that he's working with will sign it, and then he'll grab a new person to sign it. They don't know what the fuck they're signing. But if the order ends up being the wrong number and the customer complains, guess what? New person gets blamed. Little fucking trick he does. I've seen shit like that in other workplaces I've been in, but that'll be getting mentioned. A lot of things will be getting mentioned. There might be a few pages getting printed out here. But I have been told by somebody else there that he's actually already been told off for me quitting. By the way, you're going to see safety screens. I've got 2 videos of them, and I've got a bunch of photos which will be featured in a 3rd video. And I earn the company $450 to $500,000 fucking dollars, and that same week a lot of that was getting done was the same week this little cunt decided to dock me 15 minutes pay for having 10 minutes extra lunch. Oh yeah. Okay. Keep pushing me around, cunt, and you'll be finding someone else who can read engineer's drawings, and find someone else to build these things that earn massive dollars that I was told by this same arsehole supervisor that I'm basically floating the company for 6 months off of me building this shit. And guess what? My wage is less than that of my sidekick. I get $30 a week less than my sidekick gets. And I'm still being told 6 months to a year before you can go permanent. But I made you $450,000, but we still can't put you permanent for, well, probably a year, and you're getting less money than your fucking sidekick. Fuck you, cunt. I'm not going to make any more money for you. No thanks, no recognition, and my fucking pay docked in the same week, in several weeks of me shooting, because it only took us about bloody 4 or 5 weeks to make this $500,000, you know? If you work it out, it's nearly $100,000 a fucking week I've made these cunts, and they still decide that, oh, we're going to dock you a little bit for your pay. Go fuck yourselves. Now you've got to find someone else who can understand all that gobbledygook and handle the stress of the customer changing their order of wanting stuff, which we almost don't have enough room to make the whole lot up at the one time. And there was 45 of these bastards times 2, 45 that are 10 metres long. Like I'm talking like, what is it, like 30 foot long? And another bunch that are 7.5 metres long. So there was another 45 of them as well. So, you know, we'd done about 90 of these fucking things. All the things you get is, well, you know how you wanted earmuffs, well, you're going to have to keep asking. You know how you wanted that other little thing, you know, you're going to have to keep asking. Oh, no permanent for you. Oh, you're 10 minutes over. Bang. The same fucking week a lot of this stuff has been sent out, 10 minutes over on your lunch break. Bang. 15 minutes out of your pay. That affected me about, I think I lost about $13 out of that, because you get a little bit of the last 2 hours of overtime, technically. So that's when you get the big pay, and that's, if you lose any, that's when, you know, you lose your overtime rate, not your standard rate. So anyway, we get time and a half for like the last 2 hours of a 40-hour week. But yeah, actual overtime that we should have been doing to try and clear the backlog, like on Saturday, it didn't fucking happen, did it? So anyway, you know, you fucking shit in the hand that fucking gives you money. Well, you know, shit in the hand that earns you money. Well, go fuck yourselves, you know. I'll just go get another job. And they know they're fucked. And he's been told off for me leaving. So I've been told. And yeah, he sort of doesn't really talk to me, doesn't look at me, because he knows he's fucking to blame. And I'm going to love hearing from some of my workmates that this guy actually had to get off his ass and do some fucking work because I left. They are still flooded. They're just, the amount of shit that's coming in, it's like, why the fuck are we not hiring more people? But they got this bullshit thing, oh, we'll bring someone on, it's like they're permanently on. Hang on, we're fucking nearly all of us casual there. Why, you know, like fucking 3/4 of it as a casual, why are you paranoid about bringing another casual? You can sack them the next day, you know. Nah, we'll just get these same guys, we'll overload the fuck out of them and hope they, you know, keep up. Fuck off. I'm not earning you $500,000 to be fucking run ragged like shit and not have any benefits, and you go fuck yourself. What an arrogant fucking company, eh? No wonder it's run by, founded by someone who may well have been a former Nazi. They fit the age group, they fit fucking everything. And it wouldn't be... There you go, it's a German-based company. Now you all know. Anyway, you'll get to see some of these things, and the size is fucking phenomenal of these things I've built. Even me standing next to them, you'll see the size of them. They're fucking big. Big bitches. But anyway, then I get to fix the bedroom wall on the outside. I put plastic on there in an attempt to save money, and it's like a fairly thick PVC, and the idea really didn't work. Over the years, it's warped and warped and warped, and now I've got to replace the cladding on that wall. I've got to do the part of the laundry roof, which flapped like shit in the wind, and it sort of cracked because it was plastic roofing as well. Plastic, you'd be careful where you use plastic. It's not all it's cracked up to be, and it does crack up. Of course, work on the van. We may even get rid of some of the box thorns around the house too. But anyway, you'll see all that play out in due course, and I'm going to be relaxed because I don't have to get stuck in morning peak hour traffic that seems to always get earlier and earlier and earlier. And maybe next job I'll try and get will be afternoon shift. And I'm really seriously thinking I'm going to go and get an excavator license, and I'm really hoping the agency can get me into some excavator work so I can start being an excavator driver and throw mud all over the fucking place. And maybe even, well, you know, start van life. And Link, where are you going to park? Well, in these new estates that are half built, that have got roads and half assembled houses, and no one gives a fuck. No one knows. No one's complaining. No one will park right within 50 yards of where I work. Who fucking cares? But that probably won't be afternoon shift, but we'll just see how it plays out. I really would like to get an excavator. I can already drive the skid steer mowers, like your zero-turn mowers, and I know that's how you drive them. And with the controls, it's more not to do with if you used it, but if your brain's trained to use 3-4 different controls at once, which mine more or less is from a lot of time on forklifts. So I should pick it up fairly easily. It's really about the amount of controls you can run at the same time with your mind. And people who have ran equipment with a lot of controls, whether it's bobcats, forklifts, or whatever, that they pick up other things fairly easily because that part of the brain works very well because of running so many different angles and bits and pieces all at once. And if you guys seen me on a forklift, which unfortunately I won't be able to video, you'd see what I'm like, and you'd probably be shocked at the speed I run forklifts at. But anyway, yeah.